On Bruce's birthday, Terry takes him to watch a Gotham stage play retelling the legend of Batman through a musical. While Terry and the audience love the performance, Bruce is depressed and uncomfortable as he's reminded of what he can no longer do. Unable to bear the eyesore, Bruce excuses himself and returns to the cave, where he stares at the women he was able to bag, ranging from Zatanna to Catwoman to Barbara. Unfortunately for him, he can no longer get it up due to his old age, so he reminisces like an old taker. Suddenly, a familiar face shows up, looking as young as ever with a meal. Talia al Ghul, the daughter of the infamous Ra's al Ghul, shows the delicacy to Bruce, wishing him a happy birthday, but it saddens him more that his body can't allow him to eat it. He sees that the effect of the Lazarus pit is still working on her and talks about it. To his surprise, she tells him that she's ready to share the gift of eternal youth with him. His eyes light up after being assured hope, but Terry ruins the room's atmosphere with his presence. He sees the gorgeous lady with Bruce and hurries over to her like a magnet. Bruce then introduces him to her, and she immediately concludes Terry is the new generation Batman. He says all he knows about her, surprising Bruce that he touches grass once in a while. Talia corrects Terry on how he pronounces her father's name, and he asks her, out of suspicion, why she's around. She doesn't go into details and tells him she came to wish Bruce a happy birthday. Talia then informs Bruce that she'll be at Gotham's Plaza the following night if he considers fulfilling her wish. With that, she kisses him on the cheek and walks out of the mansion. The next day at school, Terry tells Max about Talia wanting to revert Bruce to his youth, and she wonders if it's possible. Skeptical, he believes it's possible based on what he's read about the Al Ghuls. Sensing how Bruce wavered at Talia's offering, Terry wonders if he'll be replaced if Bruce is young again. Later that night, while Bruce is out in town, he has a faulty tire, so he stops to have it fixed. As he struggles to get the spare, some thugs show up and try to mug him, but the geezer shows he still has that dog in him. He mollywops them with his cane so badly that one of them uses a random girl as a hostage. The thug then pushes her into traffic before running off. Left with no choice, Bruce tries to get her out, but in the process, they fall and are at the mercy of a speeding truck. Just when their lives flash before their eyes, Terry carries them out of harm's way. The situation worsens Bruce's mood as he tells Terry he'd have been able to save the girl himself if he were younger. Later, he goes to the plaza and speaks to Talia, feeling frustrated that he could have died if not for Terry's help. Talia then convinces him to give it a trial, reminding him of the good she's doing for the world and how it can be much easier with him by her side. He agrees, and she takes them on her private plane to her mansion. On the way, Talia notices that they are quiet and learns that Bruce is having second thoughts. As for Terry, she reads him like an open book, knowing he's worried that he'll be replaced. Terry then mutters that he won't be wearing the Robin costume, but she assures him that Bruce's vigilante nights are over, because he'll be with her at all times. They arrive at the mansion, and as Bruce is about to begin the process, Talia comes down to inform Terry that she sees him staring at her dad's frame. She tells him about Roz, but Terry calls him a bad name. Shortly after, he goes to the room and watches Bruce get strapped into a chamber. Before he's dipped into the Lazarus pit, Talia assures Bruce that there'll be no pain. After having a soak, Bruce is brought out and he appears younger than his current age. Terry then tries to check on him, but Bruce nearly slugs him due to the pit's restorative powers side effect. Thankfully, Talia intervenes by using a sedative on him, causing him to pass out. The next morning, Talia greets Bruce and informs him that she left some parts of his hair unchanged. She checks the mirror and asks her why, so she indirectly calls him ungrateful for not thanking her for her help. Quickly, he apologizes, and she tells him it'll take several more immersions for the rejuvenation to be permanent. Later that morning, Terry sees Bruce doing some warm-ups, and he's impressed by his stamina. Bruce surprises him even further by informing him that he isn't at his peak, but he's stronger than his current self. While lifting weights, Bruce gets mad and breaks the glass nearby, annoyed that he's cheating and claims he'll be weak if he continues to stay in the mansion. Due to the noise, one of Talia's assistants shows up and questions them, but Bruce tells him they're leaving. To Bruce's surprise, the assistant blocks the way, saying it's against Talia's orders. Still, Bruce tells him he'll tell Talia himself, so he tries to go out, but the man smacks him on the cheek. Terry then retaliates, and Bruce joins him in taking down all the men in their path. They give a one-sided beating and knock on one of the men at Talia's door. To their surprise, Ra's voice echoes from the room, so Bruce rushes inside looking for him. He gets the shock of his life when Talia pulls a Dio reveal on him, showcasing that she's Ra's. One of the servants then electrocutes them from behind, causing them to pass out. The next moment, Terry is taken outside to be tossed into a crocodile-infested lake, but he wakes up and beats them up. In the process, one of the guards falls into the lake, but his fight-or-flight response helps him live longer than intended. Terry then hurries inside while one of the guards orders the rest to prepare for his arrival. Bruce, on the other hand, is tied to a chair, and Ra's reveals he plans to transfer his consciousness into Bruce's body. He speaks of the past on how he was able to escape the showdown by paying the ultimate sacrifice. Annoyed, Bruce calls Ra's a weasel who didn't simply cheat death but was scared of it. Ra's smacks him in the face and prepares the operation. Meanwhile, as the men look for Terry outside, he stealthily beats up one of them and orders him to take him to where Bruce is. The aforementioned is forcefully zapped indoors, and thanks to Terry, he doesn't get possessed by the desperate geezer. Terry then fights Ra's, and Bruce forcefully frees himself. While Ra's tries to take a swing at Terry, he pokes the wrong holes in his controls, getting zapped so badly that the building catches fire. Terry and Bruce then try to get out of there, but Ra's wakes up and activates the fire extinguisher. As he relaxes, thinking he's prevented his precious lab from being destroyed, a live cable comes in contact with the fluid in the Lazarus pit, and it triggers a huge explosion. Terry then tries running in to save Ra's, but Bruce stops him, saying what is dead will never die. With that, they walk away from the burning mansion. After they return to the mansion, Bruce stares at a photo he had with Talia, and Terry shows up, prepared to go for his night watch. Bruce tells him he'll be back to his old self within a week. Terry wishes he had met the real Talia, and he asks Bruce if she's the special woman in his heart, but Bruce reminds him he has to patrol. After Terry leaves, he turns off the computer screen while telling Talia to rest well. He then calls her his beloved before walking away. A gorilla runs amok in the city alley as two men chase after it, and a girl sees it and screams. Coincidentally, Terry, Dana, and friends head over to Gotham's library, and Max finds it weird since they can access anything they want over the internet. Suddenly, they hear a scream. Concerned, Terry asks the others if they heard it, but Dana tries to brush it off, saying it's one of Gotham's best-selling features. Max quickly cooks up an excuse for Terry to leave and save the day by asking for a beefy burger, so he leaves them to help her out. While on patrol, Terry is directed to a gorilla, and he tries talking calmly to it to let it loosen its guard. As soon as the gorilla turns away, Terry leaps on it to force it to pass out with his rope, but the gorilla tosses him away like a dart before running off. Terry goes after it and sees it latch to a bullet train. He quickly hooks his batarang to it, but the gorilla pulls it out, preventing Terry from catching up. Two zoologists pull up shortly, calling the gorilla Fingers. They introduce themselves as Fingers caterers who perform tests on it. During one of the tests, Fingers went crazy and ran out of Gotham University. Currently, Terry orders them to call the cops to prepare a very big net to catch Fingers. Still attached to the train, the gorilla spots some men ahead standing guard in the train station, so it leaves the train and heads into the park. Having witnessed Fingers' strange behavior, Terry briefs Bruce about it and is given the green light to continue his investigations. After sorting Max's order, Terry visits the university and checks the zoo labs. He sees a serum of methyl glucose and quickly switches on his camouflage after realizing the zoologists are back. From their conversation, he learns that they injected the gorilla with a bit of human DNA, causing it to raise its IQ points. Terry then appears before them, blaming them for doing something so illegal just because they aimed for an award. Now he'll have to face a stronger foe who learns quickly. The next day, Fingers watches a wildlife hunter, James Van Dyne, on the news and instantly snaps. Out of hatred, the gorilla speaks the hunter's name as its first words. Later that evening, Terry follows a trail of commotion and finds Fingers in search of something. He confronts Fingers, but the gorilla climbs to a higher ground. Terry follows it and, at a point, turns on his camo and uses it to get close to Fingers. To Terry's surprise, Fingers fishes him out and asks Terry why he wants to put it in a cage. Surprised that it can talk, Terry then informs it of the trouble it's causing the people by rampaging around the city. As they try fighting out their differences, Fingers goes down the memory lane, informing Terry that it lost its mother due to James Van Dyne showing up in the forest. James had poached all the gorillas to the city, and it was where Fingers got experimented on. Realizing the animal is out for revenge and doesn't like humans due to the horrible treatment it got, Terry offers to find James in Fingers' stead, and Fingers gives him till dawn, else he'll rampage on the streets. Later that night, Terry visits the zoo in his disguise, but the animals can easily tell where he is due to his scent. Suddenly, he tails a vet who administers a shot to a baby gorilla. After the man leaves, Terry discovers how the Institute can keep track of the animals and learns from Bruce how James and his men make their money. Outside the zoo lab, the vet informs James that he has gotten rid of the tracker. Suddenly, James spots Terry with his unusual eye and electrocutes him. He then asks the vet to get rid of Terry and the evidence. Meanwhile, Fingers, who was tired of waiting, chose to head to the zoo by getting out of trouble and boarding a taxi there. The taxi driver who hears Fingers speak concludes the gorilla is probably one of those identifiers. Terry wakes up shortly and finds himself in a cage of lions. He tries backing off slowly, but the big kitties have their eyes glued to him like he's a snack bar. At one point, he leaps to have a higher ground, but with their reflexes, one of the lions easily smashes him to the ground. All the while, James and his men watch him as a sport. Thankfully, Fingers arrive in time right after scaring the taxi driver nearly to death and easily break into the lion's cage to the rescue. Sighting the gorilla, James orders his men to grab their guns, and they aim at the dark figures. Fingers and Terry try to escape, but James tracks Fingers' heat signature and shoots at it. Terry then distracts them and takes down his men. James then tries to aim at Terry, but the police show up, ordering him to freeze. He reminds the head of the department that it's his facility, but she questions him about the news of him poaching animals. James immediately denies it, and Terry tells her that James destroyed all the evidence. Suddenly, Fingers shows up and speaks to James, accusing him of kidnapping its mom and other gorillas from Africa. James tries denying the allegation, and after being cornered, he shoots at Fingers, but the silverback evades the shot. The attack nearly costs the police life, but Terry saves her. Terry then grabs a hold of the fleeing hunter, preventing him from escaping, but James electrocutes him. Fingers show up ready for vengeance and destroy James' gun. It then asks the poacher for its mother, and James tells it he probably sold the older gorilla off. Annoyed, Fingers grabs him and tries to show him what happens when the first of 100 men tries to fight a gorilla fair and square. Fortunately, Terry intervenes and convinces Fingers not to end James. The gorilla leaves, and days later, Bruce and Terry drop it off at its homeland in Africa. Bruce offers to get rid of the human DNA, but Fingers refuses, saying it would like to use its human IQ to protect the rest of the hunters from poachers like James. With that, it walks off into the savannah. As they walk into their aircraft, Terry reminds Bruce that the gorilla knows their face, hoping it won't be another Grodd incident, but Bruce assures him that Fingers won't cause them any trouble. The end. Thank you for sticking to the end of my video. Please do me the biggest favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope to see you in the next video.